Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Jug Show. So, we're finally here. The end of Volume 7 of the Fantastic Four. Legacy number 726. In case you don't know what the legacy numbers are, and that might sound condescending, but I actually have talked to a lot of people that are avid comic book fans but don't really know it. The legacy number is the amount total since the original release of the original comic. So there have been 726 mainline Fantastic Four comic books. And I have to say, this one was good. So, of course, that Ryan, even though that his series is actually continuing with a Volume 8 that was put forward there by Brayford's reasoning of saying that with the new movie coming out, it would be easier for people to get into the Fantastic Four because of the movie. It could create new fans. It'll just be easier to start with a recent number one. Me, I'm not 100% agreeing on that, but I can see that kind of thinking. So, we're going to take a look at this. So, after last week, how we actually did the whole series leading up to this very moment, we're going to talk about this particular issue, and maybe even just do a bit of a wrap-up of Volume 7, and then probably just come up with a couple of more hopes and theories about what could come up with number 8. So, starting off with this issue number 33, that started all the way back in 2022, and damn, that was a good start. So, after the last issue of Valeria going into this alternate timeline and seeing the whole, let's call him Freaky Franklin, and we knew 4 words that were relayed to the current Valeria from the deleted alternate timeline. And here we learned that it was Harvest the Big Bang. When you actually really think about it, that just sounds absolutely crazy. And it is absolutely crazy. I don't even understand half the equations and meanings of these numbers here. And do you just know it's insane? It's the Big Bang, meaning there's a Big Bang. Like, it's not like the bang's way. It's Big Bang, man. So yeah, it's definitely a crazy idea, but it's definitely a Fantastic Four type of deal. It's actually kind of surprising they haven't really had this kind of story before, of just going and seeing the Big Bang, seeing the birth of the universe. I mean, it's even like it feels even very Doctor Who like, because it's got me thinking of the Rings of Arcatan, and then it has the Doctor talking about seeing the birth of the universe and watching as time ran out. And in this very saga, this series, we have actually had Reed see the death of the universe and now be present for its birth. So yeah, Ryan is really going classic sci-fi here, and it's fun as hell. The real fun part, though, is that with each issue, they got different narrators. It's usually one of the family, sometimes a guest appearance. This time, we have Herbie. We haven't seen Herbie in actually quite a while. In fact, the last time we saw Herbie was mainly during Slot's run, and it was during like the Robot Revolution. And he kind of separated, but Ryan's brought him back, and it's really showing his like his role as the family in a form of like he's the family butler, and he actually enjoys his job because he enjoys being of assistance to the Fantastic Four because he has such respect for them, and what they do as superheroes. So continuing on, really like I said, this is the fun part about having Ryan as the writer. Him having a scientific background, he knows, like, if he doesn't know what exact equations or sciences that he actually he wants to put in the book, he can go looking for it better than somebody probably with an English degree. Like like your standard writers, they know how to make something sound cool. But chances are, if they were going to go for a scientific equation, chances are they're probably going to get it wrong. Like they might find the wrong one, might look at it wrong. I probably would definitely look at it wrong myself. But Ryan, he knows what he's talking about. So it's one of the funny things about having the science-based writer, writing the science-based comic. It makes you wonder what he would actually do in other types of comics, like in probably like Iron Man with a sense of engineering. Maybe some other X-Men books with his maybe talking about the genetics, or even anything greater than that. It would be really, really cool. And so we're really setting up that it's only supposed to be there for a nanosecond. They're going to be there for a nanosecond in the Big Bang to expose Ben to the cosmic rays, and then it's just gonna be a blip. But in that single blip, they could literally cease to exist. That's the real scary part. Like, the threat and stakes are huge. It's a full-on all-or-nothing gamble with what they're doing here, but they know it would work. But they also know they're gonna die. So the premise is actually very simple compared to like what it actually could be, because like I've actually said in the last episode, Ryan is very good at creating the more grounded aspect of these characters. Like, he's not going to go full on grand cosmic or grand cosmic rhetoric, and that's something I want to come back to later in the episode when we reach the end of the comic. He's going to focus more on very human and very grounded concepts that connects to the grander concepts. So a lot is going into the preparations. First of all, they got to focus on Herbie. Herbie is going to be the one that's actually piloting the time machine, the time engine, whatever you want to call it. He's going to be the pilot of it all. He's going to make sure that they're there for a nanosecond and then back, so they don't get annihilated. But the fact is, at the moment, the way he is now, he's not fast enough. His processing power isn't fast enough, so they got to upgrade him to the absolute peak that they can upgrade him. And then they're also building their big, heavy ship. And it's made of a material. Now, when I was reading this, part of me was thinking, what about, what about the mutant metal Mysterium? Then thinking they probably can't get their hands on it at a time, or maybe there's probably is a reason, but at the same time, this is actually probably, actually, hang on. Let me check this out. Let's see. So, this is probably an actual metal going into the idea of... Hang on a second. So yeah, let's take a look. It is a hafnium carbonitride mixed. I have actually no idea what I'm actually looking up. Anion compound. I don't even know why I actually looked this up. I don't even really understand what I'm actually looking at with this kind of science here. So yeah, it is. It's an actual mineral. It is notable for having the highest melting point of any known substance exceeding 4,000 degrees Celsius. This makes it a promising material for extreme temperature applications. But of course, with how hot the Big Bang is, that was definitely not going to end up matching it. So yeah, it is an actual material. So Ryan probably didn't actually want to go for he didn't want to go for he didn't want to go for a fictional piece of material. He didn't want to do Mysterium. He didn't want to do Vibranium. He keeps wanting to bring in his grounded concepts. He keeps wanting to bring in the actual real life concepts into his writing. One of the reasons why that actually is better than just because it does ground the books. It makes things seem more realistic. That this can actually happen. This is actually something a lot of good writers actually manage to do. Small details of like simple things in science or ancient history books that can actually make it seem real, that sense of realism in the fictional world. It actually creates a more grounded and a very interesting story to tell. And that's what I really love about this. Is what I love about this comic. And I'm really looking forward to more of it in his next series. So we're watching him build up this hafnium carbontride mixed anion compound. No, I did that in one take, so I think I did that right. Hafnium carbontride mixed anion compound. I'm not going to keep doing it. We're going to keep going. We're building the heavy ship. We're going to call it the heavy ship at the moment. So it's thick plated, so it could actually help to survive the Big Bang. It's not gone. Like, even now, they admit it can only buy them the smallest amount of time. So they're building it up, and it looks like, the way it looks, it's amazing that you'd think it would actually fall right through the floor because it just looks that heavy. So this moment is another one of the more emotional moments. This is something Ryan's also good at. He's good at delving into the emotion. He's not afraid of delving into the emotional stuff. So we're saying the goodbyes because the kids know this could actually be the last time they could see their parents. Because the thing is, they know it's going to be instantaneous. If it lasts longer than a minute, if they go for longer for a minute or an hour, that they don't hear from their parents, they probably are going to assume that they died. And that's going to be very tense and very scary. So we're doing these emotional goodbyes. We're doing this emotional moment with Ben, saying how much he loves his family, how much he appreciates it. And then we're going into the ship, hoping that the combination of the compound, and the last remaining strength that Sue has in her force fields, and Johnny as his power of absorbing heat, could actually help him survive. And so we go into it, close their eyes, they're just ready to go, just a nanosecond into the Big Bang, and we get this epic page here. That's the only thing I can use to describe it. We're not even 1 second into the creation of the universe, and we're seeing the artist's depiction of the Big Bang. And it's incredible to look at. The artist, who was our artist on this one? The penciler of Corey Smith, and the inker of Wayne Foucher, and the color artist of Jesus Bertov. The combination of these three guys of creating this page is an amazing combination. It's an amazing piece of artwork to see as the creation of our universe. And we've actually had these ideas a lot recently in recent comics. We've seen it with Lucas Wernick drawing it for the Storm book. We've had the book for the Phoenix do a moment of it, saying the spark of life. So seeing this in a more scientific aspect is actually very cool and very interesting. Like, the Phoenix was meant to put forward that the Phoenix is as the creator, not exactly something I'm in line to go along with. It's like just a simple spark of flame, and then it just starts the universe. Then we saw how it was in Storm. It was just this glorious big bang, and it just kind of starts about the expansion of eternity and how it's pissing off poor Oblivion. And now we're seeing it as though we're seeing it from the inside. So the fact is, if you're looking at that page from Storm, you could probably, if you look real closely, you might see the Fantastic Four. And even though the plan goes right, that Ben is soaking up the cosmic rays to make him the Thing again, of course the engine fails. If the plan went off without a hitch, do we really have that much of a story? That's the whole thing. You got to build the tension. You got to build the scary. You got to make sure that you're gonna feel nervous about these particular stories. So of course the engine's gonna fail. Was there a reason to? No, it just failed. So Ryan ends up describing picoseconds and the Herbie's. Just give me a second here. And Herbie's perspective of everything, because Herbie is seeing it from a more slow perspective. He's taking in all the information he's seeing and processing it faster than any human can possibly can, except maybe Quicksilver. So we're seeing the plasma pierce both Sue's force fields, Johnny's cooling field, and the compound of the ship. And it's just slowly creeping. And even though you're looking at it, this is a bit of a problem with the drawn artwork. It's just you don't really you think, why aren't they moving? But the fact is they can't move. They're not even processing it. That's the real scary part about this. They're not even processing the fact they're in danger. This is all happening within faster than a second. They're just gonna, and then boom, they're gone. And so Herbie's thinking. He's thinking he's gonna have to save these guys. So Herbie's thinking he's got to save the Fantastic Four. He's got to save this family. And in that time, he's also considering. And no, wait, no, not in that time. Sorry, he manages to, but he has to sacrifice himself to do it. They don't have enough energy to send all 5 of them back. He can't send the ship back, and he also can't send himself back. So he uses what little power they had and whatever he had to send just the 4 back. And he does that in a snap of the finger. Is less than a snap of the finger, and he has 4 nanoseconds left. Because of course, it's always going to be 4. And in that time, he considers, especially with his heightened perspective, his heightened reasoning skills, he really considers why he did what he did. And he considers his place amongst the Fantastic Four. He considers himself. And he figures out that he actually loves being a part of the Fantastic Four. He loves the Fantastic Four. He's just as much as a family as anyone in the Fantastic Four. So he did it out of love. He did this not because it was logical, but because he loves his family. So yeah, we got another tearjerker by the end of here. And at the very end, Ben Grimm has his powers back. They got the thing back, so which means everyone's going to get their power. Their power's going to resurge. Everything's okay. So now we can start the new volume, and we're going to be fighting Doom again. I don't think Doom's going to be happy that they undid what he probably considered a gift. I'm really looking forward to the next issue of One World Under Doom. That's probably going to be a bit of a doozy, especially judging by the cover. And I'm definitely looking forward to the new volume of written by Ryan North. So the thing I wanted to talk about here at the end, when writers normally talk about the Big Bang, like I said, not really science writers. They're talkers. They know what they're talking about. They're trying to incite emotion. So they usually come up with like how in Phoenix, Spark of Life, and how like the stuff with Storm, great expansion. But here we're going to be talking about baryogenesis. We're actually talking about the scientific way of talking about the Big Bang and how it works. So the Big Bang is caused by the creation and destruction of matter and antimatter. And apparently, I wasn't aware of this, that it was actually supposed to happen in perfect symmetry. So the Big Bang was supposed to be just a massive explosion. It was supposed to just go off and everything was just cease to exist in that very moment. We weren't actually supposed to exist. Matter wasn't supposed to exist. So it is now believed that just a small amount of that substance and Herbie now back that time tipped the scales of antimatter and matter and created life as we know it. This is actually a very fun thing to think about because of the fact that we've had so many comics recently talking about the start of the universe and talking about it in a very metaphorical kind of way, like a very, not so much emotional, just more like they use rhetoric. Here we are actually using proper scientific theory and equations, and he uses that to still create a sense of emotion. Because now, if they actually were responsible for life in the universe existing as we know it, it was actually created out of a sense of love from Herbie. Which means all that exists in the universe was created out of an act of love. this is a great way to end a volume. It's just very emotional, it's very open, and it's very true to the characters of the Fantastic Four because they are a family that care about each other, and that care actually created all life in the universe. And it's just great to think about, and it just shows how well that Ryan actually understands these characters. And it's just a great way to end this volume, and a very peaceful way almost to end it. So yeah, that's volume 7. That's issue 33 of volume 7. And now we're going to go into back to number 1 in volume 8, and I'm looking forward to that. So my opinion of this comic is that it is another one of Ryan's bangers. He's did a good job on this one. It doesn't really explore the characters of the four much, like how he does at the start of his saga, but it definitely does explore Herbie, and it definitely does give greater meaning pieces to things that we know about, and that it gives a more emotional and greater meaning to it gives a greater emotional meaning to the Big Bang, and it gives a more personal meaning to the Fantastic Four. And it really shows how these characters are a family and what they're willing to sacrifice for each other, what they're willing to risk for each other. And it's just great to see. So, continuing on with what we got up next, it's going to be continuing with the event, and what comes after that is going to be the actual question. The fact is, this is a very great form of storytelling for these particular characters, and I really hope to see more of this. And I'm really excited for the next one, but if there's one thing I'm hoping for, I'm kind of hoping for more elongated storytelling instead of just the single issues. Like maybe just 3 issues and like a 3-issue arc, because I know he can do great in short storytelling. I just would like to appreciate really seeing much more longer layouts of his stories, as well as what those stories could actually be. I'm also hoping for more stories based on the Fantastic Four, and hopefully that will come from the success of the upcoming movie, which I'm very excited for, especially given the last trailer we saw, how intense that's getting. And I really look glad they actually haven't done a reveal of Galactus's full body. He's still got this air of mystery around him. So that's it. That's all we're going to be doing. Because I got to head off now. So wrapping up, this definitely is an emotional issue. I'm glad he did his more base grounded science explanation of the Big Bang and how it went off ahead and created life, because it gave it a whole new sense and a more personal sense about how the Fantastic Four operates and how their caring and love for each other can actually create life, even in the life of the universe. And we have seen stuff like this before when it comes to these characters, that they will use a universal scale to describe how much they love each other. We actually saw it, and it's one of the better parts of Mark Millar's run, when Reed gave Sue a galaxy, no, not a galaxy, an entire universe in a ring as an anniversary present. So that is a great description of who the Fantastic Four are. And I really am looking forward to the next volume. And I'm really hoping we do some more character explorations of, say, Sue with her archaeology, go try and delve a little bit deeper into Johnny, maybe even a little bit deeper into Alicia and Reed's relationship, definitely into the kids and how they're attached to each other. Are they getting along? Maybe even mix up and match the kids with some of the others. Like, I really hope to see a combination, maybe Reed and Joe with Reed and Nikki, be given Reed's reputation amongst the Skrulls, all that kind of stuff. So all I can do now is just be very excited for the next volume. Very happy that these characters doing what Ryan's doing with these characters. Hope for more for these characters in the future. Looking forward to the next issue of One World Under Doom next month. And all I can also keep doing is talking comics. I'll see you guys later.